Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of This is Africa, the podcast. As you can see, this is not our normal setup, and the reason is because I am currently on the road and I've got a very, very important guest from a very, very important wildlife foundation. And obviously, because of our locations, I have to do this over the computer. So this is why we are where we are. But today, our guest is the new CEO of one of the world's biggest foundations, which raises money for conservation. So it's something that's very, very close to my heart. He is Rob McCanna, the CEO of the Dallas Safari Club. Rob, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here, even when you're doing this on the road. I know we like to get these in person sometimes, but it's amazing we can pull these off sometimes, even when we're in different locations. So I'm glad we have the time to do it.
I have been a fan of the Dallas Safari Club for a very, very long time. Could you maybe tell some of the listeners who might not know as much about the Dallas Safari Club, what is the history of the club?
Very rich history. I mean, the history of the club has been around, and this is the fun part to talk about because we talk about the history of Dallas Safari Club and then my time in it. But it's been around for about 42 years. Done a lot of great work, as you've said. The foundation has done such amazing work over those 42 years of promoting conservation and supporting the future of a hunting heritage and everything that goes along with that. I've only been fortunate enough to be involved with the company for about, I think today would be about 94 days. So I started January 1st of this year. My background, though, has been in the outdoors industry and the shooting sports industry for about 35 years. So joining a company with such a great history, such an important company as Dallas Safari Club and Dallas Safari Club Foundation that's had this rich history is kind of like a cherry on top for me at the later part of my career, to be able to take all the great that's been done over those 40 some years and take that mission and improve on it and move forward to leave it in a better position even down the road.
I think as hunters, we don't really get involved in hunting to be conservationists, but the reality of the situation is that hunting has become such an important part of the conservation story of the world, wildlife in its current situation. And, I certainly think that hunters are at the forefront of conservation.
Oh, definitely. And I think you said it perfectly. No hunter ever gets involved with hunting right out of the gate because of conservation. But as they've always said, with age comes knowledge. And as you see people that get involved as hunters and they do it for such a long time, and as they mature in life and they start understanding what they're actually doing and how it relates to everything else and the heritage and the passing it down from generation to generation, that's where it becomes such a big part of conservation. And all the great things that are able to be done in the saving of wildlife species and preserving of wetlands and all these things that come out of the revenue that can be generated from the hunting population. Without it, nothing of these very important topics could be accomplished or driven into the future.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's quite handy that a lot of the people that are involved in, and you know that it's the evil word trophy hunting, but it's a word that's maybe got us into a bit of trouble with the other side. But the facts are that trophy hunting is a very expensive ordeal. So it helps us as conservationists and hunters to have people who are on the hunting side who have a lot of money. It's actually, and so the story has evolved where actually money is what is making these wild places survive.
Yes, yes, and that does play a big part of it. But also to go along with that money is we've got to remember is it has to be in the engagement of the next generation of hunters also, because the money has to be there first and foremost. But if we lose the people and everybody ages out, and that next generation and the generation after that and the generation after that does not come into the hunting side of the industry, it all goes away anyhow. So we've got to keep that engagement there with those future generations and keep the money involved also.
I think you're very right. And the youth is obviously going to play such an important role in the future of wildlife. Is there anything that the Dallas Safari Club does that is to promote the sort of engagement of youth and wildlife?
Yes, and actually, I mean, over the years, there's been a lot of different things they've done over those 40 some years that we've talked about. Since I've come on board, we are looking at doing a lot more of that and bringing on the advocacy and education of younger hunters and bringing them into the fold. We're bringing back, we just had a great speaker at our annual general meeting from the Outdoors Tomorrow Foundation. And we're getting more active with the Outdoors Tomorrow Foundation, which is an organization here in the States that actually goes to high schools and teaches an outdoor class, whether it be about archery or hunting or fishing, but it's all about the outdoors, and bringing in actual high schools to get that next generation of people interested that maybe are not being exposed to it by their parents or their grandparents, or the way that I was brought into it in my life was through the family ritual. But a lot of people have moved away from that. So there's got to be organizations, and we're going to keep promoting going forward is how we can do more for those organizations to keep that pipeline of interest in the outdoors available, and securing that long-term history of the hunting heritage.
Well, that's amazing and good to hear. I know that one of the members of the Dallas Safari Club board is actually a young lady by the name of Safari Pike, and she's actually coming out to do some hunting with me, and she's going to be a part of the TV show. And I think it's just amazing that you've got someone that young that can actually portray the youth's voice on the board.
Yeah, what an amazing young woman she is, and I'm glad you're going to get to spend some time with her. I don't know if you know, we gave her an award, a Young Hunter Award at our convention last year, I should say. And when she got up on stage to speak, I was just so blown away by a girl of her age. I should say young woman, not girl, a young woman of her age, and the composure she had. But one of the things I called out when she gave her speech at the acceptance was she teared up and she got very emotional. And that really shows the commitment and the passion that somebody can have at that young of an age. And she conveys that so well to the younger generation of people out there. The more exposure we can get for this young lady and anybody else like her is just what we need going forward.
I completely agree with you. And something I've always tried to put across to these big organizations and clubs is where's the youth part of it. I know certainly in the past we've seen quite an antiquated leadership, and it's sometimes frustrating to see it as young people, because like, where do we fit in? So it's awesome to hear that the Dallas Safari Club, and I do know that going forward you do have a big youth push, which is fantastic to hear from my side. Other than the youth, Rob, what other current initiatives is the Dallas Safari Club working on for sort of conventions and that kind of thing at the moment?
Lots of things. I guess initiatives. I guess I would start with it that outside of the youth thing, my biggest objective is coming on board is how to put like-minded organizations together and getting us to reach out and work together more than what's been done in the past. And I told you my history. My history is in the shooting sports, and hunters themselves can be their own worst enemy. And I'll use some terms in North America of, a rifle hunter might not get along with a bow hunter, or and we'll go to fishing. A fly fisherman might not get along with a stem fisherman. Or why would these two people, when they're in essence doing the same activity, have problems with each other? And it's the same in the conservation world. Is why do we have all these conservation organizations, and also outside of conservation organizations, in the United States, Second Amendment organizations that promote firearms? Well, hunting and firearms sort of go hand in hand. So why wouldn't those organizations partner together to get more good for both sides of the equation? And that's probably the biggest initiative that I really want to work on. Is the one thing I've learned over my years is organizations are much stronger when they are together than when they're apart. And the people that are against hunting, they are all very well bonded together. So us as conservationists and hunters and everything like that, the best initiative I can say outside of bringing more youth into it is finding ways that all of us like-minded people that really care about the outdoors, about hunting, about conservation, start reaching across to each other and working together to promote each other and work together to make us all stronger and make things better for the future.
Well, that's very wise of you, sir. I think, you know, it's funny, that is a very wise thing, because a lot of people, when they get a leadership role or whatever, they immediately think, okay, well, let me make my place the best place. Let me make mine the biggest. But you're coming with a different angle, was let's all join together and kind of push together.
Yes, and what you said there, I sort of am doing what you said. Let's make my place the best place. My place is the outdoors, and every place is the outdoors. So that's what the main focus should be. Now, when we talk about conventions and the things we're doing like that, I mean, there's no hiding it. When I came on board, our first convention that we had in Atlanta this year was hit with a lot of problems, from weather and a new location. And to say we had a kind of a bad convention for our exhibitors, yes, that's the truth. But things like that happen. And over a 42-year history, if there's only one of those that everybody looks back and says is bad, those other 42 were pretty good.
I know some people said they didn't have such a good Atlanta show, but Atlanta, honestly, for me, was one of the best shows I've ever had.
Yeah.
It was amazing. There might not have been as many people as there normally is because the weather wasn't playing up and the airport was shut down and all that jazz. But I had a phenomenal, because every single client that came to me was serious. And, I got more signings on safaris and filmings and all sorts of things than I've ever got at any Dallas Safari Club. And I know some of my friends also had the same experience, so,
It's funny because there are a lot of people that I've talked to, a lot of exhibitors that had an incredible show. Some of them said they had their best show ever, and it happened with, and I'll give you the numbers. The last 2 years we were in Dallas, so it would have been the 23 and 24 conventions. It was roughly about 30,000 people came through the doors that were consumers. Atlanta was under 7,000. So even with under 7,000, you had a great show.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you this year, back when we get there in 26, we're going to have that 20 to 30 to 40,000 people through the door again. So think what the show is going to be like for the exhibitors that come back and actually set up again. It's going to be amazing.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I know I'll be there, as I always am. And the Dallas Safari Club, I personally, as an experience, the Dallas Safari Club blows everything else out of the water. And there's no need for negativity. If people want to moan and groan, I actually don't want to even hear about it, because rather let's be positive and fix the problem than let's moan and groan and make the problem worse. And then what are we going to do? Moan and groan some more.
Right. So we've got a lot of things in the work to make that convention an incredible event again, coming back in 2026. But even before then, we've got a new event that we've partnered between Dallas Safari Club and our Dallas Safari Club Foundation. we've always, for about the last 5 years, we've had a foundation gala in the summer time frame. This year, because we had a little bit of problem in our convention time in January, we've combined our gala with an expo. So we're going to have like a mini convention to go along with our gala, July 17th, 18th, and 19th, right here in Dallas at the Gaylord Texan. And it's going to be a fantastic event that we're going to try to do some new and exciting things outside of our normal banquets and the way the shows usually run. We're going to try to add some freshness to it and some excitement, but we've got a great line of people crossing over the line. We're partnering, as we said, I'm partnering with the NRA to do not a life membership, but a yearly membership where you buy an NRA membership and you also buy a Dallas Safari Club membership, and you get both for a 50% off deal, which is cheaper than you can buy just a Dallas Safari Club membership for.
Wow.
So a lot of good things like that. And then on top of that, anybody that buys one of those memberships, those year memberships, we're going to give free tickets to our convention, show tickets to our convention next February in Atlanta. So we're going to pull out all the stops, have great events, different events, and have that, like I said, one in the summer before we even get back to our convention next February in Atlanta.
Wow, that sounds absolutely amazing. I know personally myself, I'll be on a safari at the time, but I know I'm super jealous that I'm not going to be there because a lot of my peers are going to be there. And, you know, the fact that it's summertime and, you know, the sun's out, and I think it's just going to bring a whole different feel to a convention because, I mean, normally we all frozen up. I mean, this year was the worst. I mean, in Atlanta, unfortunately, like you said, something's out of your control. That storm that came through was just unbelievable. And so, yeah, it will be a nice change, I think, for everyone to have a nice sunny convention.
Yes, it definitely will, and we're going to put some outside events and stuff, but it'll create its own problems too because July in Dallas, it'll be sunny, but it can get really hot too. So I'm hoping the weather stays a little bit under control, so we're not too hot, and we don't have to deal with that. But the good news is all the show floor and our events are inside, so there is air conditioning, so everybody will be well taken care of there too. So.
Fantastic. And just for my sake, what is the it's in Grapevine, right?
Yes. It's actually it's the Gaylord Texan Resort is probably 10 minutes from Dallas Fort Worth Airport. So it is so easy if people are coming in, they can fly into Dallas, get a taxi, get an Uber, and be there in minutes to where the event is. The facilities itself, if you've never been to a Gaylord property, they have one in Nashville, they have one here in Texas. They're absolutely stunning. Most incredible places that you can ever go to for a facility standpoint. We only wish they had a bigger facility so we could long term have our convention there, but it's just not conducive for a giant event like our convention usually is. Yep. But it's real conducive to something that's about half that size. To do and to try the different things that we're talking about, the new exciting events and raffles and off-site events and things like that.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm now very, very jealous. But I think I might be able to move some things around and make my way over there because that sounds like it's going to be a fantastic time. How many exhibitors are going to be at the July? So what are we calling this? The Foundation Expo Gala?
It's called the Dallas Safari Club Summer Expo and Foundation Gala. And we've got a great new logo that we've shared out there. We've been putting out there. We've just started promoting a lot about it lately. That's another big excitement for us is when we go back to Atlanta, we missed the mark a little bit last year with how we marketed to the new location. And we were able to partner this year through some lucky connections that I had with a great new nonprofit marketing firm called the Moore Group. And they are putting a big PR campaign out for us. They created our new logo for our summer expo and gala. They're going to be working with us for Atlanta and doing all those things. So we've got a lot of excitement around how we're going to approach marketing and let people know about these events. But I sort of jumped around there. Your question was how many exhibitors we're going to have. So to let everybody know, the Gaylord Texan we can handle close to about 500 booths. We have about 440 of those sold out already. So we're running out of booth space already. There's the last few people coming in. So we're going to have a real nice, I don't want to say intimate. It's going to be a pretty big show floor, but it's going to be about half the size of what people are used to when they come to a Dallas Safari Club convention. That being said, top exhibitors are going to be there, from outfitters to firearms people to jewelry to art. It's going to be a traditional Dallas Safari Club show, just on a little bit smaller basis and at a different time of year, that actually a lot of people in the Dallas area are happy about, because it's pre-hunting season. So I know you're in the throes of hunting season in the middle of July, but for us, it's pre-hunting season here. So a lot of people, it builds excitement about what they're going to be doing in August, September, October, when the hunting season kicks off here in the United States.
No, for sure. And I know a lot of exhibitors that are coming to that event, and I know it's going to be a top quality event. So I do urge anyone who's, if you've never been to a Dallas Safari Club convention, you have to go, because they are the friendliest, nicest people, and there's all sorts of things to point you in the right direction for what hunt to go for, how to deal with things. And of course, like Rob was saying, all the artwork and jewelry and things for the ladies to do. So yeah, I hope I can make it. And Rob, I was looking at the ticket prices for that July event. They're very reasonable.
Yes. Actually, a 3-day pass is only $60 for that event.
I couldn't believe it.
And actually, so we talked about the Moore Group. They're engaging right now on a social influencer group of people out there that I won't relay who they are yet, but they're big in the hunting community and things like that. That when they're promoting the event, those already low ticket prices, if you see one of the promotions through one of our social influencers, they're going to be offering a 25% discount off those already lower prices to bring people in. So from a family event, for anything like that, it's going to be very affordable to see a bunch of things and come to a great event and just have a great time.
That's awesome. And confirm, you correct me if I'm wrong, but kids under 16 get in for free.
Yes, that is correct.
That is awesome.
Hey, what did we talk about earlier? We have to engage that younger group of people, and if the parents don't got to worry about paying for them to get them in the door, and their parents can bring them in, or their grandparents or whoever it is, and they can get the excitement and see what that show floor looks like and catch the passion from people like yourself and me, that's only a good thing for us.
100%, 100%. I've actually spoken, after I do my films, I always interview the people that are characters on the films, and get a bit of their background and everything. And quite a few of the hunters that I've taken hunting in Africa actually got the sort of image in their head about Africa or whatever from conventions, going to the conventions with their fathers.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a great way for them to see it. And let's face it, I remember before I made my first trip to Africa in my early 30s, I mean, you had ideas of what you were going to see, but you didn't really know it until you got there. And now when you come to these show floors, you get a really good idea, either from the videos that the exhibitors are showing, from the taxidermy, from the photos, from the artwork, from everything. It really sets the stage to tell people, hey, this is something we need to get to. We need to get to Africa to see this, because as I said, I grew up as a hunter in northwestern Pennsylvania and thought I was a hardcore hunter. And until I came to Africa for my first time and really truly realized what the hunting heritage was about and what hunting was about, that changed. I say this every time I tell people that Africa changed my life as a hunter, and people need to know that.
No, for sure. And I think a lot of people dream of Africa, but they don't know where to start. And my message to anyone who wanted to go to Africa, your first point of call is a convention.
Yes.
And I know we all like to be together and pushing the same boat, but I do believe that the Dallas Safari Club is the best one to go to because they're so friendly. Mm-hmm. And the price is better to get in. The people are so friendly. The volunteers, I mean, a lot of them are very wealthy people. You never know it, but right. They are, and they're serving you coffee and they're offering you advice and they're showing you where to go and they introducing you to people that they know in the safari industry. The Dallas Safari Club is a very, very special place. And I'd say for first timer, it's you. That's where, if you want to dream of going to Africa, just go to a convention, and it is the starting point, isn't it, Rob?
It is so the starting point. And you bring up such an amazing fact that you brought up there. So I'm the CEO of Dallas Safari Club. When I took that position, I only have 14 employees on staff. The Dallas Safari Club is only 14 people are on staff. But to what you said, we have over 30,000 people that are volunteers that give their time freely and work the shows and give their money, give their time, give their advice. And their only care in the world is promoting conservation and moving the hunting heritage forward. So that's why what you said, when you come to these conventions, specifically Dallas Safari Club and others, but Dallas Safari Club, I think, is a unique situation with the volunteers, that these people are only there to help. And that's just an amazing fact in itself, that you can go somewhere where everybody you meet is only there to help you.
Yes, sir. And I mean, a big part of, you know, conservation in this day and age is finance. And a lot where the Dallas Safari Club gets a lot of its finance from is also these conventions. So you said you've made some changes to the conventions in 2026 as opposed to what was 2025.
Yes.
What are the changes? What have you changed in terms of dates, locations? What's the story?
So as we came out of Atlanta this year, like I said, I left Atlanta on January 13th. So I had been involved with the company for 13 days. I addressed some things. I had a round table with a bunch of exhibitors at the end of the show to get their concerns. We followed that up with a big survey that went out to all of our exhibitors saying, hey, tell us the concerns you have with what happened in Atlanta outside of the weather that we couldn't control. What other concerns did you have? Then we followed it up with, I started an exhibitor advisory committee. And I get on calls, 3 or 4 calls we've had with them, talking through issues and things like that. But after all that was done and we took all that information in, the biggest thing that came back was, hey, we know you went to Atlanta because you had to, but we want to get back to Dallas or get back to Texas as soon as we can. The other thing was that came out of it, the cost of everything in Atlanta was prohibitive, and it just made it tough for us from the cost of having a drink on the show floor or buying lunch. And those were things that hit them. And then the other things were, hey, if it's a business decision, our dates are now a long ways away for next year. Your dates are a long ways away from the next show that we're going to be working in the U.S. Can you do anything about that? Because it's very expensive for us to come from other countries, do a show, then go home, and then come back for another show.
Correct, yeah.
So and the other thing was, boy, the convention area was great, but it was a long walk and everything like that. How can we fix that? So the first things that we identified were, okay, the convention center itself. We went back to Atlanta. They're moving us into a new hall that is much closer to the host hotel, the Hilton Signia. Actually, you walk through their lobby, through a set of doors, and you're on the show floor now. So that was number one. No walking, no down escalators, no any of that other stuff.
Yeah. I walk all year. The last thing I want to do at the convention is walk again.
That's right. Yes.
Yes.
And the other great thing is, if you're staying at any of the other hotels, there will be shuttle services that drop you off right in front of a set of doors that you walk through the doors and right onto the show floor. So you don't even have to worry about it. The second thing was the dates. And we were always the second week of January, which next year is a long ways away from a lot of other conventions in the U.S. We got those moved up to a February date, February 6th through 8th. So now we're about 10 days away from the next big show that everybody wants to do. So it allows them to come in and take care of that and not have to travel back and forth. The cost, we really worked hard. We don't want to make money on our expenses for what it costs to just run a show. So we've really worked hard to cut to the bare bones and reduce our booth costs down $500 from last year.
Oh, wow.
So we did that for our exhibitors. We just wanted to show the exhibitors we're listening to them and we're doing everything we can. So those were the first things. But then the other things were, you still got to be there and you still got to eat and you still got to have other expenses. So I said, well, how can we take care of our exhibitors on a different level? So during the convention in Atlanta, we will provide breakfast every day for exhibitors. We are going to provide a lunch every day for the exhibitors during the show hours. And we will also have our Big Bull Lounge where exhibitors can go for 2 hours after the show and have drinks and stuff like that every night. So,
Oh, that's nice.
I'm trying to take care of your food and alcohol needs, not all your alcohol needs.
You don't want to make that mistake. You'll go broke very quickly from the Africans, I'm sure.
Right. And then the other thing is we've always had a welcome reception at night for the night before everything starts, before the show starts, where we do a casino night and have a dinner. We really thought different about that this year. And we said, hey, those tickets are very expensive. Those banquets are very expensive. But we said, for every exhibitor that buys a booth, why don't we offer them 2 tickets at a ridiculously low price of $50 a piece to come to our nighttime banquet, where a couple things. They're getting a meal that we pay over $150 for just for the meal. But more than that, they're getting to spend time with those important customers that are not only on the show floor, but now you get to spend time with them at the nighttime and talk about your business and talk about raffles and do things like that and spend some more quality time and making an exhibitor appreciation night. Wow. So that helps with dinners. And then even the next 2 nights, they won't be at the $50 reduced price, but we've cut them down to where we're actually still losing money, but we're going to have a reduced price that exhibitors can still come for our Friday and Saturday night events also at much reduced prices.
Wow, those are some really awesome initiatives. I've never really understood people who exhibit but don't go to the galas, because the galas are where all the really big customers are hanging out. Like I've always, for a long time in my career, I was for lack of a better word, a very poor man. But I always made sure I paid, didn't matter what it cost, but I paid to be at the galas because, that's where the who's who hangs around and the connections you make and all that's very important. So I think it'll be nice for the exhibitors to have those 2 lesser price tickets where they can actually start realizing the importance of the galas.
Right. And the other side of it is just the communication factor. As you and I are doing here, and as I've done since I've come on board, there was a lot of frustrations out there between why Dallas Safari Club did the things they did and why people didn't know about the things. Coming to those events and those dinners, I'm up on the stage, I'm talking about things. We have other people talking about things. Just mingling around the room, you're getting to ask the questions to the right people. So there's nothing being hidden from anybody. It's just more exposure to it. So if there are questions and concerns, you can voice those concerns and ask those questions in front of the right people that can give you the right answers.
No, 100%, 100%. I've always loved to go to the galas. There are, I mean, you feel like $1 million as well. You put on your smartest attire and brush your hair or what's left of it. And
yeah, I was going to say that's a quick process for me. So.
Yeah, I remember my first Dallas Safari Club. I was blown away, and I actually said to one of my client friends, I was like, "Who is that man who just gave me free coffee and was so friendly?" He said, no. I said, is he the janitor or is he the worker or like, what is that guy? And he said, no, he is a member of the Dallas Safari Club who gives his time freely. So I said, oh, so that's he's more than likely a millionaire who you just spoke to and just poured you coffee and gave you and took your rubbish from you. And I was like, it just blew me away. And I could go into talking about other conventions, which I have been to, but you don't get treated with that same thing. You kind of feel like you're walking a little bit on eggshells because you might be doing the wrong thing. We might be shouted or something. So yeah, the Dallas Safari Club in that essence is very, very special. And I mean, another reason I love the Dallas Safari Club is because you do so much for Africa. I mean, you guys basically kept Africa wildlife areas afloat during COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and we're going to do more of that. That's the fun part of me coming on board is with the plans to do what I said about engaging youth and getting people to work together. When you talk about it, and we mentioned it early, money is a key factor. but growing our events and doing the things we need to do. The great thing about Dallas Safari Club is we are a not-for-profit organization. And the more money we make, the more we get to give back to Africa, to all of our causes, wherever it may be, to promote that conservation and the efforts that are needed for wildlife, for hunting, and everything about it. So, and definitely you can always remember with a name like Safari Club, we are deeply embedded into the African continent. So it's always going to be a focus, and the more money we can give back to the organizations that promote that, the better we're all going to be.
Yes, sir, for sure. And I mean, Africa certainly has its fair share of problems, and certainly the Dallas Safari Club is leading the way in helping us figure out how we can get around those places, how to get the word out, that, how much we need hunting. You guys have always been so good at that. Tell me, for someone who wants to be a member of the Dallas Safari Club, what would the benefits be, do you think, for that person?
I think the biggest part of it, the benefits are just what we talked about, being involved with some great people that are like-minded and only have one goal in mind, and that's promoting conservation and the hunting society going forward. But being involved in having you're able to do something and leave your mark. If you join Dallas Safari Club, it's kind of the reason I'm the new CEO. I could have kept in the corporate world and kept going with what I was doing. I was very happy with that. Worked for a great company, Walther Firearms was where I was the last CEO. Hated to leave that environment, but sometimes you've got to look at what you want to do and the mark you want to leave. And when people get involved with Dallas Safari Club, they have that opportunity to change things and make things better for other people and for the world. And outside of that being the best thing you can get out of it, I don't know what else you could actually say, because if you can accomplish that in anything you do, where you get into an organization that you can make things better than they were before you started it,
yeah,
that says it all, and that's something to be very proud of.
100%. And everybody that knows my show and knows me knows I'm a very honest person, and I can honestly say, a lot of organizations, they say they're doing this and they're doing that, but the Dallas Safari Club really does. So becoming a member, not only do you get the benefits of getting to know the who's who of the Safari Zoo, but you also get to know that your funds are going towards such a good cause. And I think everyone involved in hunting wants the best for wildlife, truly.
Yep, exactly. And the whole membership process, I will do a shameless little plug here, because as I said, we're trying to do some things. I've already mentioned we will be kicking off the dual membership at the NRA show that kicks off in Atlanta here this month, where you can buy an NRA 1-year membership and a Dallas Safari Club membership for 1 year. Usually the two memberships together would be $150. If you buy them at this event, they're only $75 for both. So it's a great opportunity to get in on a 1-year membership. When you talk about what we're going to do, I'm going to give away, I don't want to stop sales of those memberships, but when we get to the Gaylord, we partnered with one of our great partners, Flint and Flame Knife Works out of Florida. They are providing us with a custom knife that will be engraved with the Dallas Safari Club logo that has about a $250 retail value. We are going to run a promotion at the Gaylord event for our summer expo, where if you buy a 3-year membership to Dallas Safari Club, which usually costs $250, you get a free $250 knife. So it's kind of like a wash. You get a commemorative, you get a great knife with a Dallas Safari Club logo, you get a 3-year membership, voting rights, and everything like that. And then, as we talked about the Outdoors Tomorrow Foundation, we're going to try to do something with them later this summer or this fall at a sporting clay shoot, and offer a completely new lifetime membership offered to anybody 18 years and younger. So think of this, being able to buy a lifetime membership, and I'm saying at any age. So if you're a parent that just had a child and the child's 1 week old and you sign them up for a lifetime membership, that's a lifetime membership from 1 year old to from 1 week old to 150 years old, however they live to. So we're going to try to do a lot of things like that to grow our membership and bring people involved in the organization to do those things we talked about.
Wow, that's amazing. And that knife deal, is that only at the convention? Because I also got to get on this deal. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a 3-year membership at the convention, but
Okay.
I can always say you were there if you call me. I actually I know a guy that could help you out with that.
I got friends in high places now. Rob, tell me, so, obviously I'm affiliated with the Dallas Safari Club now, the This Is Africa TV show, which I'm so excited about. Um, but I now feel like I'm elevating myself, I'm elevating my program, and I'm getting to the place where I've always wanted to be in the conservation world, where my my message is so much more. It's a lot bigger. It has a bigger platform. Uh, It's such a privilege, but I feel a lot of pressure too. As the CEO of the Dallas Safari Club, do you feel any pressure?
Always, always. As we talk about these goals I have and going to a place to at the latter part of my career to make it better and to leave a mark and to have a legacy, there's always the pressure of the misstep out there and the negativity that can come out of it. So constantly that pressure is there of wanting to perform and make things better. But what I've come to be very comfortable with, and I hope you do too, and I'm older than you, I can tell by looking at you, all my hair is falling out. So you have all this stuff left to come. This is the wisdom that comes with
Yeah.
the worries and things like that, is as long as you lead with your heart and teach and speak the truth and do everything that you truly feel is the right thing to do to get the end result that you want, you're always going to succeed. There's going to be some failures, but the good thing about those failures is you learn from them and you can fix them. The worst thing you can do is have a failure and let it get you down and not try to fix it. You're going to stub your toe, but when you do, you figure it out, you make it right, and you change course and fix it going forward. But that pressure is definitely there, because conservation in the hunting world, it it's under attack. So I feel those pressures every day. And now being a CEO of an organization that, I mean, that's what we're about. We're about conservation, education, and advocacy. And we've got to continue to keep doing that and doing it at a higher level so that the people that are coming after us don't win. So the pressure is always there, but pressure is also a good thing because it keeps us motivated and activated and keeps us moving forward. So
Yes, sir. And I think, I mean, you made so many good points there, and like you said right in the beginning, if we all work together, it's only going to be better, isn't it?
right. That's the plan. Let's hope for it.
So, Rob, from a personal point of view, have you always been a hunter? Have you always been into the outdoors?
Oh, yes. A lot of people have said this in a lot of my earlier podcasts I did when I first came on board, but I was born in northwestern Pennsylvania and in the middle of a national forest.
Oh,
And
wow.
you basically had to drive in any direction. It was an hour and a half drive just to hit a major interstate. So it was quite rural. My hometown was about 2,500 people. Used to have one stoplight. Now it's gone, and it's just a four-way stop. So it's still a very small town. But I always told people that when you grew up there, you knew what time of year it was by what animal you were hunting, what fish you were fishing, or what animal you were trapping. So it was what season that you were involved in. You knew what time of year it was. So
Wow.
and it was a big family thing, and it was passed down generation to generation through the family. And I was just asked a question on another podcast if I could only do one more hunt in my life, what would it be? And everybody thinks, okay, you're a Dallas Safari Club CEO. You're going to say you're going to go hunt an elephant or something. And I would say, no, if I could do one more hunt, I would go back to where I grew up with my brother, my father, my grandfathers, and have that whitetail hunt in the camp and on a property on public land, because that's where it all started. And that's where the heartstrings and the emotional attachment to everything I'm doing today started.
Wow. Wow. Um, just to go back a second, the reason these conventions, for anyone who hasn't been, who may be listening, the reason these conventions are so awesome is because, like, a gentleman like you grew up in those woods. I grew up in the bush in Africa, but
Right.
we're all the same. We have the exact same passions. Like you said, you went fishing, you went trapping, you went shooting. We did
Yeah.
exactly the same thing in Africa, and that is what makes these conventions. Honestly, I get like tingles when I get to these conventions because there's thousands and thousands of people just like you and I.
Yes. And the word I always use, and it's way overused, but all those people have one thing in common. It's passion. And it's passion for what they're seeing and what they're doing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and like I also love meeting the folks my own age. Mid 30s, late 30s, and like the word, the passion people of nature from around the world. I mean, the amount of conversations, it's just crazy because anyone who thinks of going to a convention where there are thousands of people, it's almost off-putting. But when everybody has the exact same mentality as you, it's actually like it's kind of euphoric.
It's Look at it this way. It's a giant family reunion.
Yeah, really. And I mean, like, I bump into Spanish people and they tell me about their conservation problems. And then I'm talking to an Aussie, and then all of a sudden we got six young people talking about conservation around the bar. And it's just absolutely fantastic. Anyway, I could go on forever about conservation. But Rob, another personal thing for you, other than your whitetail at your family camp, what is your favorite animal to hunt around the world? Because I'm sure you've done some.
I mean, that's just such a hard question because I just enjoy hunting all kinds of animals, and I can't say that anything is really a favorite because I enjoy certain things about so many different animals. Some of the great stories I have, I can talk about the kudu I shot, or the impala I shot, or the mule deer or the elk I shot, or even the wild boar I shot in Germany, or the red deer I shot in Spain. There's how do you really pick? There,
Yeah, especially when
there's
you've done
just
all those cool things. Yeah.
yeah, there's just so many great things. I mean, I'll even laugh about it. I mean, going on a squirrel hunt or an upland bird hunt that I grew up with dogs, with English setters, and hunting upland birds. There's just I love it all, and that's where that passion comes from, and why I'm so passionate about doing what I'm doing and trying to bring more people into this world.
Well, fantastic. So, thank you so much for speaking to us, Rob. I know personally I am very, very excited to be affiliated with the Dallas Safari Club, and I feel that we've got a great future ahead of us. I know there's a lot of new board members like yourself. I know I'm new to the Dallas Safari Club team. I've been a member for a while, but now that I'm really involved, I'm super, super excited. Everybody who watches my show will know how passionate I am about conservation, and I honestly could not think of a better organization to be involved with all the work that you guys do in Africa. It's really outstanding, and it's so, so nice to know that there's a wise gentleman at the helm, steering the ship. So from me and all the This is Africa um, viewers and listeners, we thank you really, and we wish you all the best, and we are right by your side, sir.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity to talk today, because it's all about communication, and I hope your viewers can see my passion and see my vision and understand, even if it's not my vision, if it's not with Dallas Safari Club, if it's with anybody else, go out and make a difference, and support conservation, and support concert and hunting rights, and the things you need to do, and stop the negative talk and squash that and make it better for everybody else. So thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure, sir. Like the old saying goes, stronger together. I totally agree with you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to This is Africa, the podcast. What an interesting podcast we've just had, and I think you can probably tell from my excitement that I am very excited about the future of the Dallas Safari Club. And folks, just remember, when we all pull together, we can make anything happen. So it's not just up to us, it's also up to you. Let's do this together, folks. See you next time for another episode of This is Africa. Thank you for listening.